Welcome to Vexel Lab. This is a comprehensive visual and technical dissection of the Lamborghini V12 engine architecture. For over 6 decades, this specific displacement and cylinder configuration has served as the definitive heartbeat of the Italian supercar, surviving multiple changes in company ownership and radical shifts in automotive regulation. We are entering the digital archive to trace the lineage of a legend, exploring how a single engineering concept evolved from a refined Grand Tourer into a 1,000-horsepower hybrid benchmark. This is a study of mechanical persistence, high-velocity physics, and the relentless pursuit of the ultimate internal combustion experience. We begin the database sequence now. The lineage begins in 1963 with the 350 GT. After a public fallout with Enzo Ferrari, Ferruccio Lamborghini commissioned the brilliant Giotto Bizzarini to develop a 3.5-liter, 60-degree V12 that would surpass the refinement of Maranello's offerings. The result was a dual overhead cam masterpiece that was intentionally over-engineered for longevity. In this initial iteration, the V12 was front-mounted and paired with a synchronized 5-speed gearbox, producing 280 horsepower. Unlike the high-strung racing engines of the era, the Bizzarini V12 was designed for high-speed continental cruising, establishing the smooth, linear power delivery that would become a hallmark of the brand. This front-mounted longitudinal architecture proved that Lamborghini could master elegance before it mastered aggression. In 1966, the Miura shifted the engineering paradigm and birthed the modern supercar. Engineers Marcello Gandini, Gian Paolo Dallara, and Paolo Stanzani sought to move the heavy V12 behind the driver to achieve a mid-engine balance previously reserved for Le Mans prototypes. However, the length of the V12 created a packaging crisis. The solution was radical: mount the engine transversely, sideways, and integrate the gearbox into the engine oil sump. This 4.0-liter unit allowed for a low, sweeping silhouette that changed automotive design forever. While the Miura was a visual triumph, the transverse layout created significant heat management issues and a front-end lift at high speeds, proving that while the heart was in the right place, the orientation was not yet perfected. The 1974 Countach represents the moment the V12 layout reached its final, logical evolution. Known as LP, or longitudinal posterior, the engine was rotated 90 degrees back to a north-to-south orientation. To keep the weight centralized, the 5-speed manual gearbox was positioned ahead of the engine, effectively sitting between the seats. This required a driveshaft to run through the engine's oil sump to reach the rear wheels. This complex engineering solution allowed for better cooling and more direct gear shifts compared to the Miura. The LP400 architecture became the permanent blueprint for every flagship that followed, surviving through the brutal wedge design era of the 1980s and establishing the iconic Lumbo doors as the standard for V12 excellence. The arrival of the 1990s brought the Diablo, a machine designed to breach the 200-mile-per-hour barrier. While the engine remained a direct descendant of the original Bizzarini block, the technical focus shifted towards stability and usable power. In 1993, the Diablo VT introduced the viscous traction system, integrating a center differential that could transfer up to 25% of the torque to the front wheels. This transition to all-wheel drive was a direct response to the massive torque increases of the 5.7-liter V12, which had become difficult to manage with rear-wheel drive alone. The Diablo era proved that the V12 lineage could adapt to modern safety and performance standards without losing its raw, uncompromising Italian character. The Murcielago represented the final and most extreme evolution of the original 1963 engine architecture. Under the new stewardship of Audi, the Bizzarini-designed block was pushed to its absolute physical limits. Displacement was increased to 6.2 and eventually 6.5 liters in the Super Veloce variant. While the engine remained a masterpiece of mechanical history, it was paired with a new E-gear automated manual transmission, signaling a move toward the digital age. The Murcielago was the end of a 40-year engineering cycle. It was a refined, high-precision instrument that finally solved the cooling and reliability issues of its predecessors, serving as the ultimate tribute to the original 1960s blueprint before a total clean-sheet redesign was required. 8:30 to 10 o'clock, Section 7. 2011 to 2026, the reinvention. In 2011, the Aventador introduced the L539, the first entirely new V12 engine in Lamborghini's history. It was shorter, lighter, and far more powerful, featuring a high revving nature and an independent shifting rod gearbox that delivered violent, lightning-fast gear changes. However, the most radical shift occurred in 2024 with the Revuelto. To navigate the era of electrification, the V12 was rotated 180 degrees once again. The gearbox was moved to the rear, making space for a high-density battery in the center tunnel and 3 electric motors. The result is a plug-in hybrid flagship producing 1,015 horsepower. The V12 has not reached extinction. It has been amplified by electricity. The lineage is unbroken. This concludes the Vexel Lab archive. Subscription is advised for further technical dissections.